Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Please let me know if my image is flickering because it's flickering on my. It's really annoying. Actually, it's a different camera. Hey there, Elizabeth. Can you let me know if my image is flickering because it's flickering on my end and it's very, very annoying, very distracting. Hey, Leanne, how's it going?
Hey,
Okay, finally my image stopped doing whatever it was doing. It was flickering. Hey, Claudia. I'm trying to move this over here so you guys will see this side of my face. And I'm sorry, this background is not working too well, but we're supposed to use it. We have 9 people. Hey, everybody. Say hi so we know who's watching. Hey, America. How are you? Okay, remove the background. Okay. I cannot have one live where nothing happens, where everything goes smoothly. It's so annoying. Okay, and let me change my camera back to the other one. There you go. All right, Leanne. How are you? Give her some time. Yeah. Leanne, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. How are you? How was your trip?
I'm good. It was awesome. It was the best experience.
Awesome. For those of you guys who do not know Leanne, she also lives here in Georgia, and she came to one of our uh, social meetings when Vanessa came down to Atlanta, and we had the best time. Definitely want to meet up with her again. She recently came back from Panama, a place that I've wanted to go to for a long time, and she posted some great pictures. And I invited her on tonight to talk about her experience. And you go ahead, Leanne. Tell us everything.
Oh my god. Okay, just ask me because I don't know.
Okay. So first of all, when did you first come into the country and how?
Okay, I my parents brought me here in 2000. Uh, we actually flew. Um, yeah.
Okay, so she did not experience the river, you guys.
No, I didn't.
We need to take her on a field trip so she knows what it looks like. Um, but yeah, so she traveled to Panama recently. How was it going back home after such a? How old were you when you got here? First of all,
8, 9.
so you didn't remember too much, I guess.
No, not just like the neighborhood, just like my neighborhood. That's it.
Do you have a lot of family left there?
My dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
about it.
how did you remember them,
Yeah,
or it's
because
like
we're
everybody
in
is new?
yes, because we're in contact. So
But in my experience, like seeing people after such a long time is it's weird. Like even their voice changes sometimes.
hmm
It's not how you remember.
yeah,
How long were you there?
I was there for 10 days.
Awesome.
The most
And
amazing.
those pictures you posted are really great. That water is really amazing. Where in Panama did you go?
That's an island. That's like 2 hours from the city. It's called
Mhm.
San Blas.
I've heard of it. It's
Yeah.
2 hours by car. Or
Yes.
boat. Okay. Awesome. Let's see if there's any questions so far. I think. And who did you go with? Did your family go as well?
I took my kids and my mom.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Does your mom go often, or was this after a long time for her as well?
No, my mom goes often. She's a
Okay.
resident.
And was this the first time your kids went to Panama?
Yeah.
How did
First.
they like it?
Oh, they were in love.
Yeah.
They say everything is different.
Did you feel rich over there? Are things cheap
No,
or no?
they're
No,
kind of the
not so
same
much.
prices here. There's some stuff that is cheaper, but not everything. It's about the same thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
Interesting. For I feel that like that for a lot of things in Brazil too. And I think some things are even more expensive.
Mhm.
Like going to the grocery store there is so expensive.
Yeah. Over there
Um,
it is as well.
well, thank you so much, Leanne. If there's anything else you want to share, please feel free. You can hang around with me. If not, you can also leave the live. So it's up to you. Um, we're gonna go
Okay.
to
Well,
11:10.
I will let y'all go.
All right.
If
Thank you
anyone
very much.
yes, if anyone has doubt, don't. Y'all need to apply. It's worth it. You're missing out, like for sure.
Thank you, Leanne.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
great night. Right. All right, guys. So I wanted to talk about my latest experience. Genesis wanted to join us, but she's busy with work right now, so she wasn't able to. So for those of you who did not see my latest post after I came back, I went to London. This is flickering again. You guys let me know if this is distracting. Um, I went to London on, look at my calendar, last Friday, and I came back on Monday. So it was a very short trip. Um, there's somebody from the group that I've been corresponding with for such a long time. We just click so well, and we've been talking about meeting up for a while. She lives in Boston, and I live in Atlanta, and she travels a lot for work out of the country. And I was like, it would be so cool for us to meet somewhere abroad. And she texted me on Thursday saying, I'll be going to London tomorrow for work. Do you want to go? And I said, absolutely, because I've been wanting to go for a while. And my husband couldn't go because he doesn't have as much PTO yet. So I was like, heck yes, I'm going. So literally, guys, the day before I planned this, I am not rich. I just have flight benefits, so I didn't have to pay for the flight. Got there Saturday morning. London or British immigration is a little annoying for Brazilians. I'm from Brazil because there's a lot of us who live there illegally. So they tend to ask a lot of questions. So with me, it was not different. Um, but I was really calm and collected, had nothing to hide. I was really there to visit, had no intention of staying. So they were the typical questions. Where are you coming from? how long are you staying? Um, when I said I was only staying 2 days, he was like, do you have any plans? I said, yeah, a couple, but not too much. I decided to do this yesterday with a friend who travels for work. They did ask to see my documents from the US. So I showed my work permit. I tried to show my AP, but he didn't look at it. And then at the end, he said, well, you have a good life. I said, yes, I do. Because we don't need to tell anybody about our struggles, right, guys? Nobody needs to know about our undocumented struggle. So he just stamped my passport and let me go. But so after that, I headed to the hotel. I got there 2 hours before Genesis did. So I was just waiting around for her, but just amazed and taking it all in at the same time. London is absolutely gorgeous. I feel like my family should have moved there instead of here. Honestly, we spent our whole lives humiliating ourselves to be in this country. And when you start traveling, you see there's places that are so much better. Um, and we all deserve the chance to see those places. So that's why I like to share my story and encourage you guys and also remind you AP is not just to go to your native country. You can go anywhere as long as you have a reason. Um, I applied to go to several places, UK being one of them because I have family there. I also have family in Spain and I have family in Brazil. And I also listed a bunch of other countries as possible connections. And with me now flying standby on my husband's benefits, I'm finding out that traveling to Brazil is okay. There's usually seats available. Flying standby meaning like I don't pay, but I only fly if there's seats available, right? So going to Brazil is usually okay, but coming back is a struggle. The flights are usually full, and when they're not full, there's restrictions due to cargo that they carry. So when I went to Brazil, I could not get on the flight back. I had to buy a ticket at the counter on American Airlines to get back. So with that, I found out going to Buenos Aires, Argentina is much easier going and coming back from there. So that's probably what I'm going to start doing. You know, I can still use my AP. Reasonable explanation. I also did list pretty much all countries in South America when I traveled, but even if I hadn't, I really am going to Brazil and I'm just going to Argentina because I have to go through there to get a seat. So I may do that. Not this time because I already have everything planned for this time. Next week, I'm traveling on Wednesday again to Brazil. So that's going to be my 7th trip so far. My AP expires on March 6th, and I'm definitely traveling as many times as possible until then. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to 10 times before this AP is expired. Probably not 12 because, there's just not a lot of time. 2 months is not a lot. Well, about 3 months. I like to play it safe. So my AP expires on March 6th. I don't plan to travel after maybe, or to come back to the country after like February 20th. So I like to be really, really safe. Unless I'm going to Mexico, I may push it a little bit closer because if something happens, I can go to the border and cross on foot. But if I'm going somewhere else, I like to give myself plenty of time. And the way I think about it is if you lost all your documents, how long would it take for you to replace them? Number one, right? In Brazil right now, it's pretty impossible to get a passport. They're really backed up. It's taking forever. So if I were to lose my passport in Brazil, I'd be screwed. So that's why I really want to give myself a long time, enough time there to travel back. Um, because that's another question I see here often. How what kind of advance do I need before I come back? I'd say a week, minimum, very minimum, because most of us are going to Mexico, so it's easier. But America, I know we are all going to have this opportunity one day because we all deserve it. We've worked so hard for what we have now. Someday we're going to be able to go everywhere without restrictions. We all have uh, not the chance. We all deserve to see Europe. It's amazing. It's a different world. In London, everything works. The streets are so clean. Public transportation is amazing. The people dress so nicely. You're almost embarrassed to walk outside because they're all so well dressed. Sorry, said Gloria. Most of us going to Mexico, yes, and that's your next life. After Brazil, who knows? Maybe I'll save Mexico for February. I'm trying to go to all the cold places before February. Um, I wish I just had all the time in the world. I have a puppy now, so I can't be away as much as I would like to be, unfortunately. Unless you're offering to puppy sit, Gloria, then I'll go. Jose, do you use a different reason each time you have traveled, or have you traveled or applied under the same reason when you applied? So this time I use the same reason as my second time. Yeah. My first time was emergency when my mother passed. Second time was to visit my brother mainly. Third time, which is this one, same thing, to visit my brother. So yeah, these last two, I use the same reason. Uh, that's another question. Oh, can I use the same reason? You just have to use your common sense. For example, if you're applying to go see your grandmother who fell down the stairs and broke her hip, that's a temporary situation. You can apply one time, but you cannot apply again. Oh, because your grandmother, broke her hip in 2016, unless she has, uh, you know, lasting consequences, from that incident that you can use. So you see where I'm going with this? There needs to be something happening currently, and if it's a chronic condition, which in my case, my brother's condition is chronic. He was born with it, and he'll always have it. So it's something that's never going to change. So I can use the same reason every time. But if it's something temporary, then you might want to start thinking outside the box and maybe add another reason, or explain how that temporary condition maybe caused a more lasting effect that justifies your trip as humanitarian. There is no black and white guidebook on this, guys. It's all about you being able to make an argument for your trip, for it to be humanitarian, work, or educational. There's people who have applied to go manage their Airbnb properties abroad, pretty recently, and it's something that we hadn't heard of before. So that person thought outside the box, and they were approved. Once in a while, I see other situations of people who applied for reasons that I hadn't thought of before, and they still got approved. So it's all about the argument that you can make. Uh, Rocio Cruz. Does doing AP cancel any travel ban we may have when leaving the country? I want to do AP so I can leave the US, but be able to get a visa at some point. and come back and visit family here. Rocio, first of all, um, you have to know how many times you've entered the country unlawfully, right? So if you entered only one time, okay. Next step, how old were you when you got DACA? If you were 18 and a half or younger, then you've never accumulated unlawful presence. So in that case, you can technically leave the country without AP or anything, without a waiver, and not have a bar, a 3 year or a 10-year bar, right? You could still apply for a visa. There is definitely no guarantee you would get it, because just because you don't have a bar doesn't mean you'll be granted a visa. They can deny you for any reason. And for somebody who's lived here for such a long time without a green card, trying to get a tourist visa, you can see how that gets complicated, right? They're probably not going to believe you, and your chances of getting approved are very slim, to be honest with you. But as far as the bar goes, in that situation, you haven't triggered any bars because you did not accrue unlawful presence. Now, if you got DACA after you were 18 and a half, um, AP does still, AP allows you to travel and come back and not trigger any bars. But if you're trying to leave the US and be able to get a visa, that wouldn't work, right? Because you can't leave on AP and then apply for the visa and get the visa and come back. That's not how it works. So you would still have to leave without AP. And in that situation, since you accrued unlawful presence, you would trigger the 3 year or the 10-year bar. So unfortunately, this is a tough situation here either way. Anita, hi Hugo. I want to do AP for my son. He wants to go to Canada to visit his grandfather on a humanitarian basis. He did AP last August. This time he wants to add India. Will he be questioned why he wants to visit India? Anita, I think I've seen your questions in the group pretty frequently. You don't, just list India in the application, okay? For AP, you need one valid reason to travel. They don't really care whether your grandfather lives in Canada or India, okay? The reason for your AP is to go visit your grandfather. Just list Canada and India, okay? And if you want to add this to the affidavit, just say you have other relatives in India, or you can say that your grandfather may be in India when you are able to visit them. That's what I did with the UK. You know, even though I have family in the UK, the person that I added to my application is my sister. She lives in London. I mean, in Spain. Her daughter lives in the UK, in London. So in my application, I listed the UK and Spain, and I said that I'm listing the UK because my sister may be in the UK when I'm able to visit her. They don't care. Just list both countries. You'll be fine. Let me see. Karistema, sorry, I skipped your question. So you can always just mark multiple entries, and we definitely recommend you do that, whether you think your reason is strong or not, because sometimes, depending on the officer, they just give you whatever you ask for, right? But my reason was to visit and care for my brother. And I used that as a reason for multiple entries. Plus, I was visiting more than one person, more than one country. I also used that as an argument to get multiple entries. Whether that made a difference or not, I don't know. Unfortunately, I did not get as much time as I was hoping for. I did apply for a year, and they only gave me 4.5 months this time. Last time I got 10 months. So I'll probably be applying again here very soon, maybe January. But yeah, it's like the lottery. Whatever you get is what you get. All you can do is make your affidavit as strong as possible in hopes that they'll read it, because who knows if they even read it, but we definitely recommend you adding it. So don't make it long, make it short and to the point. Um, pour your heart into it for sure, but don't make it too long because they may just look at it and just skip right over it, right? But if it's short, somebody may be tempted to read it. Nanny, where the London Bridge is falling down, I'm not sure what you mean. Let's see. Rocio, yes, you can. I actually did that. They don't even look at it, I'm sure, because I added another reason along with those countries, which in my eyes would have warranted more than 4.5 months, but I still got 4.5 months. But since I added those, I can still travel to those countries, right? I may or may not do that. But you can definitely send unsolicited evidence. The only time I suggest that you do that is if you are adding additional countries. If not, don't send anything extra. Hey Briz, good evening. So I've been to Brazil, where I'm from, Mexico, France, Czech Republic, Portugal, Spain, Holland, Germany, and last week the UK. 9 countries with AP. Trying to get a couple more on this one, guys. And for those of you who are still young enough, or maybe who are in school, who are doing a graduate course, and you really want to go to Europe, guys, you don't need to be in a study abroad program. You can apply to travel, to see a sick relative in Mexico or wherever you're from, and then add those countries in Europe. Maybe a reason could be you're looking at schools for, a specialization. You're trying to get a specialization in Europe, and there's some schools that you would like to visit before you make your decision. Maybe something like that. They really do not care about adding countries. You need to have one valid reason. They don't care where you go. Just make sure you list those countries, but they don't really care where those countries are at all. I've every time I come back, um, out of the 6 times, I've only been asked twice what the reason for my trip was. First time was I was traveling on emergency advance parole, and the second time was a couple of weeks ago coming back from Brazil. And my answer this last time, I went to visit my brother. I did not say, oh, humanitarian reasons, my brother has this condition. No, I went to visit my brother. That's all. They didn't ask anything else. So don't give them more information than you need to. Just answer what they ask, and that's it. Sometimes we get nervous and we talk too much, and it can get us into trouble. The CBP officers paroling you in 9 times out of 10 have zero idea of what it takes to get an advanced parole document, what reasons are valid for an advanced parole document. So they're not asking you the reason you traveled because, oh, it has to be humanitarian work or educational. That's not why they're asking. They're just asking to determine how thorough their questioning has to be. If you're coming from Colombia, you're probably going to be questioned a little more, like Ana Brenda said that they went through her bags, just because it's a hot destination for drug smuggling. If you went to, let's say, China, that might be a hot spot. That's the only reason they're asking. They're not asking to check on the computer and make sure that you went to do exactly what you said you were going to do on your application. That is not what they're doing. Yes, Gloria. 9, and let's make it 12 before this one is done. Anybody else have any questions? I could make it more, but I want to go to several places in Mexico, which is fine. There's so much to see in Mexico. I still haven't gone there on this AP. I definitely want to, and I like to spend a week in Mexico. I don't like going just for a couple days. So we will see. Maybe the week of December 20th. That would be great. But I want to go to Guanajuato, Guadalajara, maybe Cancun. I'm not too crazy about Cancun. Maybe Cozumel is better. Tulum. Jessica, does it matter how long you go for? Can I go for a day and come back? Will they know? Jessica, they know everything. When you fly out, your exit is recorded, and when you fly back in, your entry is recorded. Can you go for a day? Absolutely, you can. I don't know what you applied for, but you can go see somebody for a day. They're not going to care as long as you travel within your allowed time frame, right? They're not going to care. I went to the UK for 2 days. Really, 2 days. I mean, I stayed there for 2 days, and then the travel time adds another day to it. But I was only there for 2 days. I was never questioned why only 2 days. The only thing they asked was, where are you coming from? And this was Atlanta this last time. I've gone through Atlanta 3 times and through Miami 3 times. Those are the only 2 places I've been through. The guy asked, where are you coming from? I said, the UK. That's it. No more questions. He may have asked, are you bringing anything? That's all. They didn't ask, why did you go there? What were you doing? What did you apply for? None of that. It is on mine too. I just have to make sure it's safe, because I don't really know the places to avoid in Mexico, because the ones I've been to are pretty safe. So that part scares me a little bit. Jose, have you had any issues with officers not giving back multiple entry papers? Applying for multiple entries myself. No. Miami is very familiar with how this works. Atlanta, same way. The only time I've seen people have issues are maybe in smaller airports where they may not see this too often, or at the land borders that, officers tend to not be as knowledgeable as officers at airports. But I've never had any issues. The first time I traveled with a multiple entry document, they kept the second page. I freaked out a little bit. Next day I called CBP at the airport because I didn't notice until I got home that they kept the second page. asking for it back, and they said no, they have to keep it, but I'd be fine traveling with just that first page. So that's what I did. I traveled with that first page, but I was scared. It was fine. Never had any issues. And then when you only show them one page, they always give that page back to you. Now, with this document, it's also a multiple entry document. Knowing that they usually keep the second page, what I did was I never showed the second page. I only showed them the first page. And they just stamped it and gave it back to me. They never asked for the second page. Never showed the second page to anybody abroad checking in or here to CDP. I was never asked for it. Would you have to send another app or just to add a new affidavit as evidence? It depends. Well, you need to add the evidence, not another application. Just send a new affidavit, just a short explanation regarding what it is that you're sending, and then the evidence. That's all. But the countries are going to be added on that affidavit. Do not send a new application. For those of you who don't know, guys, so Germany, I mean, you wouldn't want to apply just for this because the institution wouldn't be connected to a US institution, right? But if you are trying to add countries, reasons to add countries, a good one would be, maybe going to Germany to visit some schools. They have free college for everybody, even international students. So you could apply to go see your grandma in Mexico and then add Germany to your application because you're interested in checking out a school that has this program that sparked your interest. Once you're in Germany, you can go anywhere in Europe, really. It's like traveling domestically over there. Apart from the UK, because the UK is not in the Schengen agreement, you can Google this. Schengen, Schengen, is an area in Europe that comprises of 26 countries. So all the most popular countries are part of this: Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands. What else? Czech Republic, Italy, Switzerland is part of it. Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Germany, even Hungary. So the vast majority of countries in Europe are part of this, which means you can move or travel within those countries like you're traveling domestically. There's no stamps anywhere. So that's kind of what I do. I never really flew straight into any of the countries that I listed on my application because, first of all, my sister lives in a small town in Spain, and most of the international flights will go into Paris, France, and then from there go to her small town, right? I didn't list France, but that's fine. That's a perfectly valid explanation. I've only flown into Paris and Amsterdam, and the last time I went to the UK. So I flew into London. Jessica, probably joined late. Yes, somebody asked that question earlier. You can, as long as your grandmother is still sick, of course. That's totally fine. So to reiterate, guys, if you have a connection, it's fine. If you haven't listed that connection on your application, that's fine, because most of the time you don't know there's connections until you're trying to buy a ticket, right? to a lot of countries, in order to go to a lot of countries, you connect. It's normal. They understand that and they don't care at all. Uh, Copa Airlines is an airline from Panama that goes to a lot of places all over uh, North America, Central and South America, but all the flights connect in Panama City, Panama. That's fine. That's a perfectly good reason. Even if you're connecting through a place where you have to go through customs and they stamp your passport, that's still fine. We've had several people go to Brazil and come back on Aeromexico. In Mexico, you still have to go through customs even when you're just transiting, which means they got a stamp in Mexico and it's fine. They were fine. I got stamps from places where I connected through that I did not list. It's fine. Several. Jose, how early can you reapply for AP? There is no waiting period. You can apply for AP again while you still have a valid AP. My AP doesn't expire until March, and I'm planning to apply again in January so that I don't have to wait too long after this one expires before I can travel again. Gloria, when are you traveling? When are we going to Mexico? Mexico. I applied for dental reasons to go to Mexico. I wish I would have added Japan to visit my sister who just had a baby. Were you already approved? Or are you already approved? Answer that question for me. If not, just send that in. Just add Japan. Oops, sorry, I was muted, guys. Um, so, America, here's my advice. You apply for dental reasons. That is what they're going to be looking at, right? What I would do is you don't even need to add any evidence. I wouldn't, okay? Now, I'm saying what I would do. Don't take it as legal advice. But what I would do, if you don't have access to this stuff right away, and if you're about to get approved and you don't have much time, just send in an affidavit adding Japan and saying that you're going to visit your sister who had a baby. They're not going to have a problem with that because your first reason is valid, right? As long as you have one valid reason, the other reasons are not important. So just do that so that you have told them that you have the intention of going to Japan, but you don't have to worry about sending all that same evidence you sent for the dental treatment. I know, Gloria, sometimes it's crazy. When I look up prices to go to Mexico, it's almost as much as going to Europe. It's insane. But try leaving from, well, going to Mexico. I don't know if Florida is that much cheaper. Fort Lauderdale, there's Spirit Airlines. I don't know if Spirit Airlines flies where you're going, but Fort Lauderdale is a big hub for them, I believe. Yeah. And then you can buy the flights, the segments separately. So are you all planning on going to Mexico? or you have gone to Mexico, what places are you going to? Let me know in the comments. Do I just send another affidavit through the unsolicited evidence? Yes, to Ed Japan. Yep. That's all you do. Rocio, I'm gathering all my paperwork. I want to go to Guadalajara. Yes, I want to go there too. I have a friend who's American and lives in Puerto Vallarta, and he loves Guadalajara, and I want to go there. I'm trying to go there and spend as little money as possible. There's only one flight there straight from Atlanta. So I kind of get scared of getting stuck there because I only fly if there's seats available. But I may go to Mexico City and then just pay for a flight from there. Shouldn't be much. Hey Ida, how are you? I have never done a one-on-one. I don't usually no, I'm not part of that team that does one-on-ones. But the team is amazing. They're very knowledgeable. Uh, Natalie is somebody I tell her I have a crush on her all the time because her answers are so amazing. If she's watching, she's very knowledgeable. I'm not sure if she's part of the people or she's one of the people who do one-on-ones, but we all have a group going on and we share knowledge and information. So whoever you do the one-on-one with, you're in good hands. There are people who have traveled a lot more than I have and who know more than I know. I think the only difference is I'm probably in this group, I'm pretty sure I'm the one who have traveled the most with an outstanding removal order. Nobody's crazy enough to do it. But after the first 3 or 4 times, it's like, okay, there's nothing to be scared of. This is fine. They had plenty of chances to send me back. I guess they're okay with me. America, yes, you're talking about Natalie. Yes, she is amazing. Her answers are really nice to read. She knows a lot and she schools me all the time. There's stuff I learn from her all the time. And the amazing thing is we all have the power to know all of this. We have the internet at our fingertips. The first thing you need to do if you've never applied for AP, or even if you have and you just followed our guides, is you need to go to the USCIS website and read that entire set of instructions on AP, which is Form I-131. Once you read that, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable with the application and how it works and what it is that you have to prove. After doing AP 3 times now, there are certain, assumptions that I've made of how they make the decision based on how much time I've got, right? This last time really opened my eyes because I sent unsolicited evidence. This is the first time I do this. My unsolicited evidence was to add other countries and hopefully increase my chances of getting 1 year. But I didn't get a year. I only got 4.5 months. So my assumption is they did not even look at that unsolicited evidence. They only looked at my main reason, and they thought 4.5 months is enough time for him, right? Because if they really had reviewed that unsolicited evidence, they probably would have given me more time. So the only reason you're sending that in for Japan is to just to say you've told them that you want to go to Japan, but they're probably not even going to look at that affidavit. So what I recommend is after you send that in, print that out, right? After you get approved, print that out. They're not going to ask when you come back, but just to be safe, if there is one chance in a million that they may pull up your application and say, "Oh, you did not list this country," then you can show them the proof there that you did send it in. Hilda, I just got back from Mexico, my first time applying all by myself. I'm definitely proud, and it was a crazy timeline. Applied October, expedited my case October 24th, and got approved October 31st. Congratulations, you're one of the very few who was approved for an expedite because I tried and I got denied. Fernanda, when we were granted DACA, whatever order we got from a judge got dismissed with the DACA approval. No, correct? Asking this because I was given a voluntary departure, something along those lines. I, of course, never left. I was 11 years old. This is why I've been holding back on applying for AP, and also because I don't believe I have a legitimate reason. Unfortunately, no, that does not go away. And fortunately, it's not great news. So what happens when you get a voluntary departure, Fernanda, and you don't leave the country? That voluntary departure turns into a final removal order, right? That's what I have. Except that in my case, I never got a voluntary departure. I was just placed in removal proceedings, and then we never showed up to court, and the judge issued a final removal order in our absence. But we both have a final removal order, so it's the same thing. I've still traveled 6 times, and it's fine for you to travel even with that on your record. But unfortunately, having DACA does not erase that. You still need to take care of that as soon as possible. If you are married to a US citizen or you have a child over 21 that can sponsor you, please take care of this because you cannot adjust your status with that on your record. Okay, that's what I'm going through right now, trying to reopen that case and terminate my order because unfortunately we cannot adjust with that on our record. I hope this helps. But yeah, you can still travel. And that may actually help. That may definitely does help to have a legal entry when you try to take care of that, because it's another point in your favor for them to just dismiss that that removal or terminate that removal order, right? Anybody else have any questions? Okay. I work at a hospital. I asked the director of my department to write me a recommendation letter about the time limit I had due to my title at the hospital and the shortness of staff. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I wasn't sure what that was related to. Just talking about how you requested the expedite. Well, very good. I'm very happy you got approved. So what was I talking about? I think some people wanted to talk, for me to talk about my experience in the UK. I started talking and then we stopped. So I was saying the streets were so clean, everything works. Public transportation is amazing. The trains are so clean. It's like compared to New York City, New York City is trash. The public transportation in New York City. I live in Atlanta. Public transportation here is practically non-existent, and it's the same in the vast majority of this country. Unless you live in like maybe LA, Boston, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, you probably have shitty public transportation too. But even in those cities, it's nothing compared to London. It was really great. Um, and just the architecture, the people watching, the food. Oh my god, guys, the food in Europe is so much better. They put so much crap in our food here that you don't realize until you go there and you taste the food there. It's the same thing when you go to Mexico, right? The fruit is so fresh. Um, yeah, the stuff here is just not good for you. GB, hi, how long is AP taking at the Texas Service Center? I'm not aware. I think it's over a year, but it shouldn't be in Texas. Your AP should be in Nebraska. If it is in Texas, you can write them and ask them to transfer to Nebraska. But you're gonna have to just search in the group. I'm not entirely sure how to do that exactly, but I know there's information there somewhere. Lucy will try to get an InfoPass appointment next week to visit family in London and hoping I'll get approved. Well, I wish you the best of luck. You may not want to come back. Apart from the weather, London is amazing. I would live there in a heartbeat. But also, what's the reason for your emergency, if you don't mind me asking? Girl, take me with you. I'm serious. I still, my father-in-law is German. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, yeah, my favorite place so far has been Amsterdam. You know, I still like Amsterdam better than London, but London is still amazing. It's just on a different level. Like the bouginess. Oh my god, it's so bougie. I know people who have lived in London and they're like fancy, kind of like, you know, I thought they were stuck up. And when I was there, I texted somebody that I thought was bougie, and I said, I get it now. London is bougie AF. It is, but I love it. Oh my god, the store could definitely drop me off at the wrong place. I'll tell you that. Fernanda, I've been to Boston many times. You're gonna think it's trash when you go to Europe. Yeah, especially the trains that go to the airport. They're so freaking nice, so nice. Like, oh my god, why can't we have nice things like this? Rocio, you should definitely, if you don't get approved, I hope you still plan on applying by mail. You definitely should, and make a trip out of it. I mean, when you go out there, I know it's not the happiest of circumstances, but please take advantage of it. That's something else people are scared of. So you need a valid reason, humanitarian work or study, to apply for AP, but you that does not mean you cannot take a vacation out of it, make a vacation out of it. If you go to Mexico, right? Go wherever you want in Mexico, go see your family. If you don't want to go see it's none of anybody's business what you do there. If you go to London, God forbid your father, no, not grandfather. Sorry, I forgot who it was. Father-in-law. If your father-in-law is no longer here, you can still go. Make a vacation out of it. Visit your other family members. Go to Scotland. Go wherever. The UK, when just list the UK, because the UK includes England, Wales, and Scotland. Yeah, huge, huge difference. Edgar, I have a felony. Would you say I'm okay to do AP? I cannot comment on that, Edgar. I'm sorry. I don't have enough knowledge to advise you on this. First of all, I can't advise anybody. I'm not a lawyer. I can only talk about my personal experience. I don't have a record. I don't have a misdemeanor. I don't have a felony. What I have is a removal order, not because I did something wrong. It's just because we were caught at the border. Well, that's not right, but you know what I'm saying. I didn't commit a crime and then got put into removal proceedings. We just got caught at the border trying to cross, and they placed us in removal proceedings then. So my case is different than yours. Definitely be cautious. I always recommend talking to Charles Cook because he is very knowledgeable. If your felony is old, if you've been able to renew your DACA since then, you probably you're probably, and don't take this as a yes, you're probably okay. But anything having to do with drug charges is pretty serious when it comes to immigration. So talk to Charles Cook and see what he says. America, not right now. I'm trying to reopen my removal order and get it terminated. That has to be done before I can actually get my green card. I have a pending I-130. That's fine. That can get approved with the removal order regardless. So I'm expecting that to be approved anytime between January and March. And then I'm sending the motion to reopen with the approved I-130. Hopefully that'll be quick and I'll get a positive answer. If so, then I can move on to the 485, I-485, which is the actual green card, and get it that way. If not, you would have to explore other avenues and it may take a little longer. But as of right now, I cannot actually get a green card because of the removal order. Hey, Fernanda, I was 14 when I came in. That court hearing that we did not go to happened when I was 15. So I got a removal order when I was 15. Thank you, America. I feel like this is almost the end, and it's so exciting because for all this time, all I heard from attorneys was, no, there's nothing you can do. You've got no options unless something changes in the law. And 9 out of 10 attorneys always told me I could not travel on advance parole with a removal order. Here I am to prove them wrong 6 times later. And I'm not the only one, guys. We have a group going on of people in the same situation as me who have already traveled on advance parole. We have, I believe, over 40 people right now. That's only the people in the group. There's people who have done it who don't even know they had a removal order when you traveled and they still don't know. So it's totally fine. We're out here, um, you know, finding out things that a lot of attorneys don't even know. We're doing our own research and we're sharing knowledge with others. So that's why I'm so passionate about this group. A lot of us, or all of us, went such a long time without seeing our families. A lot of you were lucky enough to have your parents here with you. I wasn't for a long time, and it was hard. And when this opportunity came up, I grabbed onto it because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could drop dead. Take this opportunity to go and hug whoever you want to hug. You'll be fine. I'm fine. I'm traveling again on Wednesday to Brazil, and I'll be back on Monday. And then after that, I'll probably travel again a couple weeks after that. I'm using the heck out of this AP. You better be sure of that. Guys, 7 minutes past the hour. I thank you all very much for joining and for your questions, but I will let you go. I have to put up my Christmas tree for the first time. I don't think I've put a Christmas tree up for the last 10 years. But this year, there's plenty of reasons to celebrate. I was able to see my family 3 times since last year, and that's such a blessing. And I wish that on all of you. Thank you all. Until next time, if you're interested in joining the next live, just let me know. Send me a private message. You know, we're okay with private messages for that reason. Don't send me private messages for any other reasons. I'm not trying to be rude. I've gotten like 4 or 5 just yesterday and today, and I can't answer you guys. I'm sorry, but it's for your safety. So have a good night. Talk to you later.